What if you could learn 8 essential trading lessons to drive better results? We teach you this in this video from a detailed trade review by me of a stock trade made by a trader on our desk. I'm Mike Bellafiore, and we are a proprietary trading firm in New York City with numerous highly successful traders, almost all of whom have started their trading careers with S&B. We hope you find this channel to be a terrific place to learn and grow as a trader. In this video, you'll learn 8 important trading lessons that can drive improved trading performance by you. They are: 1, the importance of understanding the potential upside for a trade based on the news. 2, you can build a trading career catching small moves rather than the whole move. 3, being open-minded about a trade leads to elite trading. 4, find a liquid and volatile stock as opposed to just a volatile name. 5, game plan great long and great short ideas. 6, embrace technology to help you make better trade decisions. 7, review well to internalize the best trading opportunities. 8, the importance of learning from a senior trader during your trading journey. You will learn these timeless lessons inside of a detailed trade review in a biotech stock trade with a trader on our desk with critical feedback from me.
So yeah, the primary reason I did this playbook was because this trade popped up on our scanner, and I was looking for a spot to get short this, and I think I was coming in with a not the right bias on this news and this catalyst. I was coming into some resistance levels and pretty extended on the day. So I had been finding some edge in trades that were up 4 to 5 ATRs and above 2 ATRs intraday. So I was short bias on this, but given the catalysts and the news, and once we broke through that levels, I think there was a great opportunity to get long this name.
So just so we have some background on you, are you watching the World Cup?
I am.
And what's your, now you probably will understand the World Cup better than the rest of us, but you formerly played high-level soccer.
Yeah. So played Division I soccer at Providence, and then got drafted by the New England Revolution in Major League Soccer. Spent a year there. Coach that drafted me got fired. They cleaned house, so I was pretty much out of a job after year 1, and decided to go play in Europe. Went and played in Portugal, Iceland, Finland, and played there for 5 years. And was looking for a team to come back home, be closer to the family and wife, and couldn't find a good job opportunity that I saw fit. So I decided to hang up the boots and went back to school, finished my degree, opened up a couple of businesses, and now get to do what I really love, and that's trading stocks.
All right, great. Who are you rooting for now?
Portugal. That's my parents' homeland. So hopefully they can bring home our first World Cup. That would be amazing.
Would you root for Portugal over US? Not that the USA would actually make it so far.
That's a very tough question. So the US beat Portugal in the 2002 World Cup, I believe it was. Whatever World Cup was in Korea, I don't remember. Yeah, it might have been 2002. And I remember waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch that game. And I think I was pretty upset when Portugal lost. So I think I was rooting for Portugal at the time. But it would be a tough one nowadays. Oh, actually, they played in the last World Cup as well. Yeah, I would say I was split. I was happy with either team winning.
Okay, yeah, that's a tough one. All right, great. And you're a good friend of Shark's, And I
Yeah.
think that's how we got introduced.
Yeah. Yeah. So Shark and I have been friends for 6 or 7 years now. We met through our wives are best friends, and he talked about his career and pretty much just showed me the ropes in trading, and I've been wanting to trade for a good 3-4 years now. I just couldn't step away from my business, but finally got the opportunity, and I'm happy that I did. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this journey goes.
Cool. And you're mentored by Shark now? Or I don't know if you're really good friends with somebody, if you can use the word mentor, but you and Shark hang out and
Yeah, so I'm on a call with him every day. He's obviously one of the best traders out there. I try not to distract him, but he is.
me either. I try not to distract him either.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever watch him trade, he can do a million things at once, which is insane. And he's just been obviously, one of the greatest traders out there. But he's been a huge help for me, and he's not afraid to tell me when I'm messing up, which I really appreciate. And
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be able to work with a senior trader, period. And
I think my learning curve just accelerated like 2 years. And I try to help some of the guys that I'm working with, the junior interns, the senior interns, and it just it helps everybody that's on my team, all the interns, just getting the knowledge from him, and then everyone else is just open to hearing his input as well. So it's really amazing.
I actually called him today a little bit after lunch, and he was at PT and said he couldn't talk to me. So I said, I don't want to bother you. I'll talk to you later. Give me a call later. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
So I try not to bother him either. All right, great. Well, that's good. I appreciate that background. And why don't we get into this trade? If you want to learn 3 real-world setups that our professional traders use, including the simple but highly effective setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free online trading workshop that we're currently running. This is a 100% free, intensive workshop where you're going to learn more in a couple of hours than from years of online education. So don't miss it.
XSM, they achieved their primary endpoint in phase 3 trial of Alzheimer's disease agitation. So this is not a drug to treat Alzheimer's, which BIIB, Lilly, they're working on. This is a drug just to treat agitation. So when I was looking at this, I was thinking those drugs are going to be worth billions and billions of dollars. Now, I don't know exactly how much this drug is going to be worth. And you really have to know the background information when you're putting on trades like this, and you have to really do your due diligence and know all this information. So this was actually great to experience this, because now I know where to put myself as far as having all that data in one place and skimming through that and knowing the bigger picture, just to put yourself in a place to make a good trade. And I think you as a trader, you need to do that, because having that confidence with that background, you're just going to excel when it comes time to push the buttons.
I'll just chime in here. You make a really, really excellent point, and this is an important trading principle. When you're choosing your stock, when you're making your stock selection in the morning, understanding the potential upside of the news catalyst is super important. And obviously, if you're choosing news catalysts that aren't going to really offer you a lot of upside, you want to take that into account. But the bigger the news catalyst potential upside brings, that's got to be factored in. You may have to trade that differently. You may want to put more risk on. You may have to deal with sizing differently. But I love the fact that you pointed out, hey, this is something that has unusual potential upside.
Also understanding like the pipelines of these companies as well, like if they're a good company, if it's, they're just jumping on the train and trying to make, because people are just throwing money at Alzheimer's drugs right now because it could be a huge breakthrough for society in general. So, AXSM, they've had some other drugs. They just won approval for one of their other drugs as well. I believe the name is Auvelity, and it's a release tablet for the treatment of major depressive disorder. Next slide. Here's the pipeline drugs. The Alzheimer's disease agitation is in phase 3. The AXS-07 received FDA approval, and some other drugs as well.
Little known fact about me. So people sometimes ask why I got married so late, and one of the reasons why I got married so late, I got married at 40, had my first kid at 42. Not as impressive as Spencer, who got married at 50 and had his first kid at 51. Not in his league by any mention. How old were you when you got married?
I was 27.
Okay. So my wife's mom, when we first met, she actually had Alzheimer's. And my wife and I spent the first 4 years of a relationship really not seeing each other. So we were kind of dating, but she would work. And then during the weekend, she would go up and take care of her mom. And really the only time I would see her is if I decided to get on a train and go stay with her and her mom. And that's how we kind of spent the first 4 years of our relationship. Wow. So anyway, that's part of the reason.
Yeah, it's a nasty disease. My grandmother, when she passed away, she had Alzheimer's and dementia. It was how fast she deteriorated was bad. It was crazy. So this drug specifically, Ali, I'm sure you know, people with Alzheimer's and dementia, they can really get agitated and not understand what's going on. So this is something that I found out after. We knew that it wasn't a cure for it, but there is an unmet need here, which is huge, right? So there isn't a drug out there that can give people the type of relief with the symptoms that come with Alzheimer's. So the analysts are conservatively predicting that this drug alone is going to produce or bring in 1.5 billion. And these successful trials, other drugs that have had successful trials in the Alzheimer's field have been catching huge bids on the news. And if you look at BIIB, their market cap is 42 billion, and it's trading 16 times its revenue, which is pretty crazy. So another thing with AXSM is that it has attracted a huge short interest, and you can attribute that to the previous drug that was approved by the FDA. There was a delay on the approval. There was some issues there with their paperwork, I guess, and people are probably thinking that this could spill over, if they're not being really diligent with their with their work and making sure that they get approved on everything, that this could spill over with this drug. And then also, given the current average volume, the daily volume, with that amount of short interest, it would take shorts 5 days to get out of their positions if it was trading at the average volume. So intraday fundamentals, 1.8 million average daily volume. On this specific day, the RVOL was 10. The ATR is $6. The short float was 19%, which is pretty high. Really high, actually, for a stock. And the market cap is $3 billion, and institutional ownership is 60%. So execution strategy on this trade, there are multiple trades that you can make depending on how we open. So in this specific scenario, the way this stock traded on the open, I think the best trade was the momentum scalp.
So Andrew, if I could just cut in,
Yep.
We want to make sure that we're scoring each of the 10 principles that go into making a good trade. So one of those principles is stock selection. I'm just curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a trading opportunity you think this is?
I would say probably a 9.
Yeah, I actually wrote down 9 too. And the only reason why I wrote down 9 and maybe not higher is that sometimes these stocks can be a little bit illiquid, and B, sometimes it's hard to truly understand how significant this news is without having a really strong background in biotech. You know, at certain firms, there are biotech analysts who are going to run over to the traders, at a hedge fund ish type thing. They're going to run over to the traders and they're going to give them a lot of color on how significant this news is. And so, we do a little of that, but that's not quite what we do. And so I just feel like our news edge is a little bit unknown. This is definitely a news catalyst, but sometimes we get this stuff. Sometimes it's a little tricky to understand the news without having a real background in biotech stocks. A specialty in that. So, but yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's a 9 out of 10 in stock selection.
Yeah.
All right, trade strategy. Go ahead.
You bring up a great point because I don't know if you were looking at RXDX today. It's similar setup, huge gap up, and RXDX tried to push through and then failed, and now it's down $15 off the highs. So they are risky in that sense. And I also think it's important to change the narrative as price gives you more information. So watching for the first 5-10 minutes, see if the bids are sticky. And I think especially with a stock like AXSM where the spread is pretty big. So this was kind of an issue I was talking with Shark through this real time, is just banging in and it pushing through and then stuffing. I feel like that's kind of risky. I don't know how you feel about that, Bella, but like I almost would rather try to anticipate that move and try to get in from lower prices where you could have a decent stop and not lose so much if you're wrong.
I just think they're different trades. So there's going to be some people who can really master a breakout trade or a momentum trade in that case. And there's going to be other people who really master that consolidation before the breakout.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of you trying to figure out if you like one over the other. I like you certainly tagging and measuring where you're having the most success in those particular trades. I do think in this market that consolidation before the breakout is a better way to be trading in the market conditions that we're in, which are a little bit choppy to downish, though we've over the last couple of weeks shown a little bit of strength relative to prior to that. In a strong up market, I think you're fine trading breakouts.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're seeing less follow through on breakouts.
Yeah. So measure the trade. I think you should have a sense as to which one you think you like best in this market. Just tag and measure it and keep your trading stats on it and verify that is the best way to attack this because it's a good opportunity.
Yep. The trade plan was to watch price action on open as prices come into important levels. 72 was the 6-month high, 74.50 is the 52-week high, so we're coming into resistance levels. It's a heavily short name, so if you break through the resistance there at 72, it could get squeezy. You could take a momentum long through opening range break or momentum scalp on high volume. Reasons to sell would be break and hold below the key level. A fail follow.
So I just want to jump in here and highlight a really important point. Not everybody's going to be as sophisticated as you in trading who is listening to us right here. I think a lot of times when a big news catalyst like this comes out, people feel, particularly newer traders, feel like they actually have to capture the whole move. And they feel pressure to be able to figure out how to capture the whole move. Well, should I just fade this on the open and capture the 16-point down move that you just mentioned in the stock you're watching today? Or should I try and buy that consolidation before the breakout and catch a 15-point up move to the upside? And they actually just feel this pressure to be able to do that. And what you're doing here is super savvy and the right way to be thinking about it, which is, look, we're active traders. We don't have to put the pressure on ourselves to capture a 15-point move. It's okay to capture a move. It's okay to capture just a nice little move, up or down, and to start to build out our playbooks, to be looking for these moves that you can capture, as opposed to having to capture the entirety of the move. So I wanted to highlight that that's perfectly acceptable, profitable, opportunistic way to be building a playbook. And then the second thing I really want to point out, which I think got a little bit overlooked from your comments before and is super important for active trading, is how you're being open-minded, how you're planning to be open-minded about the information that comes in on price and volume when you're watching the stock. And, there's so many, like the other day, I thought the market was going to go down. I'm on the call. I'm saying to guys, like, I think the market should go down. The news dictates we should go down. The news dictates that inflation is more likely to go up. This is a bad sign. We should go down. And what happened? We went up all day. But in the morning, what was interesting is I was just saying, and I actually chatted with Shark about this while we were watching this in real time. So I'm game planning. We should go down. We should go down. We should go down. We should go down. And I'm saying on the Discord call, well, that first move is not indicating we should go down. Well, that second move, that's not information that we're more likely to go down. Wow, that third move off the open, I'm not seeing any evidence that we actually should go down. I'm not seeing any evidence on the tick. I'm not seeing any evidence on the price. I'm not seeing any evidence on the volume. All I'm seeing is actually breadth of up move. And Shark and I were G-chatting back and forth, and I'm like, I'm surprised that we haven't gone down. And he said, yeah, the price action's not that bad at all yet. I think it's going to go down too, but the price action's not that bad yet. And I said, I totally agree with you. And so we had game planned for the market to go down. I did, and the younger guys on the call did. And I made a couple of trades on the short side, got stopped out, totally manageable. But since I was observing that the price action was not confirming my thesis, as a short-term trader, I'm adapting. And so that's a huge, huge structural edge that we have, which we always need to be using, because we don't have to be short. We don't have to be long just because we think a stock should go up. We don't have to do that. Hedge funds have to do that. Hedge funds have to sit in Peloton for 3 years, God forbid, or Zoom, God forbid, or Shopify, God forbid. We don't have to do that. All right, so I wanted to highlight those 2 points. Thank you for pointing them out.
Thank you. Yeah, so reasons to sell, break and hold below the key level. If you're obviously long in this situation, fail follow through and stuff at a key level, and an overextension to the upside and heavy volume, 2 to 3 ATRs above VWAP, which is a trade strategy that I have been working on where I've been seeing some edge. So if in that event, if I'm long, it could be a good sign for me to take some off.
So if you had to grade yourself on your trade strategy here for this playbook at a scale of 1 to 10, how are you viewing this? Is this a 9 out of 10 trade strategy, 7, 8, 10? What are you thinking?
Considering that, this trade plan was after the trade played out, I pretty much made a perfect trade. But this is like Monday quarterbacking. But so, the key is, I feel like doing this in real time is what you want to do. But if I were to grade myself on this trade strategy, it'd be probably a 9 out of 10.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's probably right. I think this is a good, and what you want to be thinking about when you're game planning and get into the habit of is what's a really great long? What are the variables for that? What's a really great short? What are the variables for that? And being disciplined enough, discipline's not the right word, but waiting for those better trade strategy opportunities. And you're certainly crafting one right here. All right, let's move on.
All right, so technology, as with any great trade, it starts with an alert. So we actually have a great Google sheet that's shared around with a bunch of the guys, and we tag all of the upcoming catalysts that we feel could really move a stock. So we basically have all upcoming catalysts, and we have in there, so Google actually has a great feature in Google Finance. You could actually bring up the market cap, you can put the ticker, and it just brings up the market cap, and you can add the value to the stock, and it will give you the current price and the potential percent move that we can get off this catalyst. So that is a really awesome thing we're doing there with a bunch of the traders. We have a gap up scanner with average volume that's over 1 million, RVol scanner with RVol over 2, a 3 times ATR scanner, anything up 3 ATRs on the day, and a percent change scanner, which I like to use in the pre-market to see if what's up 5% or more or down 5% or more, which would probably indicate there's a catalyst, and you add the volume in there, and that's where I would kind of look for in the morning. And that box there is, I don't have the AXSM one. I didn't take a screenshot of that, but this is just one from yesterday, so you can see what the RVol and ATR scanner looks like.
In grading you on technology here, this is what we're looking for. This is a 10 out of 10. I also want to know a little bit of a backstory to this, which we discussed offline, which is that you collaborated with another trader. Should we give Dan D a shout out?
Absolutely.
So one of your colleagues and you collaborated on how to use technology for this trade, which is great. Big part of what we do here at the firm. How do you help yourself as a discretionary trader make better trade decisions in real time by using technology? This is an example of building alerts and collaborating with other traders to be able to do that. So highly encourage you to keep doing work like this.
So we're looking at the sector, bigger picture. So you kind of want to see where XBI is trading. And in this case, it was in a tight range. I don't think that, yes, the market, if you want to take a look at the market and have a bigger picture, but I would say that this catalyst will move differently than the market, unless we're in a really big catalyst market day where I would say the VIX is at 30. Would you agree there, Bella?
I would. What I'm looking for here is, are we near a particularly important breakout price or breakdown price? Are we trading particularly weak or particularly strong in the sector? That may give us a little bit of color as to how strong or weak we may think the stock will be on a particular day. We're in the middle of the range here. I completely agree this is going to trade stronger than the sector. I like that you're looking it up. I don't think this is going to be a huge influence on our trading, but it's an excellent best practice to check it.
Great. So technical analysis on the daily. Now this is on the gap up there in that gap. This is the day that we're looking at. So this picture was taken a day later. So price was coming into short and long-term resistance levels, so 72 and 74, which were longer-term resistance levels.
All right, good. So we want to find, hey, here are prices where we want to be long. We're more likely to be long. Breakout areas into support areas. Here are areas where we really want to be short. What advantage can we gain trading today, trading this stock intraday based on the daily chart? A lot of times the best trades, you have alignment with the daily chart and with the intraday chart technically. And so that's what we're looking for here. So good job understanding where those super important prices are on the daily chart. Very, very good best practice for that. All right, let's go to the intraday.
With such high short interest on a strong move up coming into important daily resistance levels, you want to watch price at these levels. So
I just want to clean up a couple of things, Andrew. So let's go back to the big picture. We need to be adding to the big picture where we are in the overall market and what the overall market is concerned about when we're thinking about making a trade. So we want to say, not just, hey, what the overall ETF, the most important ETF is doing, but, where are the Qs, where are the SPYs, are we below important ranges, above important ranges, and just get an understanding to how strong or weak the market is, and are we getting below important or above important levels. I mean, obviously, if we're waiting for Qs and SPY to break above a seriously important level and you've got this positive news catalyst, that makes the trade more likely to work. Obviously, if we're in this we just broke to the downside the day before on heavy volume, and now we're trading the next day, it's going to potentially weigh on the stock going up as much as we would think. So just in cleaning that up for the big picture, we want to be adding that. Make sense?
Okay. Yep.
And then the other thing is for technical analysis, you want to be thinking about not just the daily, but also intraday. So what is the intraday super important prices? Maybe you're going to point that out in your trade management side. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of an overlap with that. But for us to have strong fundamentals, I know you can appreciate this as a professional soccer player. We want strong fundamentals that leads to better performance. And so we want you thinking through this as cleanly and fundamentally strong as possible so you get as good as you can be.
Yep.
Daily chart, where the important levels, and then intraday, where the super important technical levels, and understanding that. All right, so let's go to that trade management.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I did have dots here to indicate these price levels, but they're not showing up for some reason on Google when I popped over into Google. So I think a pretty important catalyst here would be the short interest. And on such a strong up move and coming into that daily resistance, you're going to see shorts appear to defend these resistance levels and try to push this down. So the shorts will appear to defend these resistance levels, and once we base and we can't go down more on the open, so we're watching this for 15 minutes on the open, we can't go down, we can't go up, and now we're consolidating. And once we base and put pressure to the upside and break through that pre-market high, which happens to be 72, which is a very important level on the daily, shorts are going to be scrambling to cover, tripping over themselves, and that is where I think on the volume, if you can see here, if you can see my mouse there with this volume here at 72, I feel like this is the best entry for the long here, and you could take a momentum scalp. And what I like to do when I take a momentum scalp is enter here before the break and sell some into that overextension and put yourself in a good position to possibly make a great trade and hold on to some.
All right, good. And just cleaning up, scoring you for technical analysis. So you did a good job pointing out the daily chart and where the important levels were. And now you're doing a good job here of pointing out the intraday level that's important to you. I'd like to see a little bit of a better level. I think a level that's touched more. I think a level that's closer to where the stock had been trading previously gives you a little bit more advantage. So like some consolidation before a level that couldn't be breached and then gets breached. Meaning like your 72 level is a level, breakthrough open, but I think there's better intraday levels that you'll come across. So we'll call that a 9 out of 10 for that. Sorry to interrupt you. Finish up this trade management.
No worries. So if we look at the 5-minute, as you're looking to take profits, there's going to be a lot of noise on a 1-minute chart, and it's not going to be so clean. That's something that I've noticed and have been working on, and is managing my trade on the 5-minute rather than the 1-minute. So for me, a good tell of exhaustion is volume peaking, and I like to use this to cover any momentum move to move longs that I have. If you can see on the arrow there with that high volume candle at the highs. Also, it's up 3 ATRs on the day, which is a good candidate for an overextension short and a good reason to take the trade. If I was looking for a reversion trade, I'd be watching the price action here at the highs and see if there was a trade that I could take this back to VWAP. Managing trades on a 5-minute chart will give you a better picture of exit strategy. And personally, I like to use this 5-minute chart over the 1-minute chart.
So I like how you're being specific about the type of charting that you like over others. I like to look at 2-minute charts. Some people like to look at 1-minute charts. Some people like to look at 15-minute charts. So I like how you're thinking through that for yourself. I really like the way you're using ATRs into your decision-making process. You know, when I'm thinking through this in terms of trade management, you're finding a level to get in, you have a stock in play. The one thing I just love for you to add to this is where you'd be wrong if the trade lost money, and get into the habit of pointing that out. But in terms of trade management, this is how you should be thinking through the trade. I particularly like the exit. You know, that's a 9 out of 10. Let's see what you did on review, Andrew.
So trade review, given the high short interest in AXSM, there's always a potential for a squeeze on a name with a hot topic with an unmet need, which is Alzheimer's. Once we cannot break lower, shorts were scrambling to get out. Once we broke through the long-term resistance level on volume, there was a perfect momentum long through 72 on high volume. Factors that made this trade work: it had a positive catalyst, it's a hot topic, high short interest, approaching long-term levels, the RVOL was extremely high, and you mix that in with buyers chasing this positive catalyst, and its valuation was much lower than other Alzheimer's names.
I really like how you're going over the reasons why this trade worked. I think that's an excellent best practice. I think that really helps you internalize the trades. So when we think about how we can trade better in real time, the reason why we do these playbooks is we're trying to internalize these trades so that when we're in real time, we're like, oh, wait a second, I remember that trade. That's a part of my playbook. And I remember that if I have these variables, then it's more likely to work or not. And so that process you're going through right there is super effective. Not every trade is the same, but lots of trades are similar. You're kind of making these in real-time comparisons. So maybe the next trade doesn't have 1 or 2 of these, but it has the others. And that's enough for you to have a little bit more confidence in playing this on the long side. So that's a really, really good best practice. The one thing I just would love to see, and I'm sure you'll do this going forward, is I'd love for you to crunch your stats and tag these trades and let us know how well or not well you trade these particular setups. I'd encourage you to add that to your view, but this is how you do a good review, and that's certainly at a 9 out of 10. You get one more score on diligence of presentation, and we're gonna come in at 8.5. I would like for you to clean up the big picture part of it. I would like for you to talk a little bit more about reading the tape when you are talking about a trade. So is there something from your tape reading skills that you can highlight, demark, and remind yourself as being particularly important? You know, I think you talk a little bit about that in terms of what the chart looks like, and I think that's fine. I do think there's more information from the level 2 that is particularly helpful. In fact, you know, it's interesting. We're building this new course for you guys internally on scalping, and Jeff, I know, has been working with you guys on this new, on sort of being a sounding board and workshopping some of the scalp trades that he's made. And we are actually doing a lot of these scalps on charts because not a lot of people actually know how to read the tape. But, you know, if you listen to Lance, and I'm sure if you listen to Shark, they will tell you the importance of actually watching tape over again and building those tape reading skills to give yourself a little bit more edge. And so when that stock breaks out, you want to record that part of it, go watch it back, and see the nuances as to what it looks like when it's really going to work. And when it gets to 3 ATRs and fails, you want to go back and watch that and see the nuances to why it fails. And I do think you want to be including that in your review. And I don't think that's just from the charts. So I think that's a 7.5 on your reading the tape. Okay to be doing on charts, even better to be doing it with your level 2, given that we use that. So Kurt's gonna tally up our scores, and the idea here is to give feedback to the trader as to is this the way they should be doing their playbooks that is going to lead them to achieve their goals. And so for somebody like yourself, you want to be coming in over 85 for you to be achieving your goals to be the next Shark or better. Screw Shark, like tell Shark you're coming for him. So on stock selection, we got a 9. Big picture, we're coming in at 7. Trade strategy, we're coming in at 9 out of 10. Intraday fundamentals, we're coming in at 10 out of 10. I think you did a good job with those. Technical analysis, 9 out of 10. Reading the tape, 7.5 out of 10. Trade management, 9 out of 10. Technology, spot on, 10. Review, 9 out of 10. And diligence of presentation, 8.5 out of 10. And Kurt will tally that up. And what do we get, Kurt? 88. Congratulations. You have passed this round. So appreciate you going over this trade for us. And again, the idea is to be, and I know you of all people appreciate this and probably think I'm a little bit anal when it comes to things like this. Like I want strong fundamentals. Every trade for traders to be thinking strong fundamentally, because I think that gives them the best reps for them to improve and the best experiences for them to get better. And so the more we can impress upon you guys to just be super strong on your fundamentals, we think the better you're going to be. So, all right, great. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I think that all those points, really drilling that home, that makes so much sense. And yeah, you're right. Like I want to be the most fundamentally sound trader out there, just like any pro athlete out there is, their fundamentals. What separates the best from the average is that they do the simple things right all the time. You want to stay consistent, and I think having those fundamentals is the best way to stay consistent. And you bring up a great point about the tape, which I felt like that was what was missing from this presentation. And I do review the tape a lot after the market closes, and watching the speed, especially in those moments, the tape just speeds up, and it gives you a lot of cues on if there's a huge seller, if we break through that seller, how do we react after that? And the speed on the tape will definitely show you.
Andrew, I'm curious, and I don't mean to put you on the hot seat here, but we love learning about learning. And since you are the only professional former soccer player in the firm or in the firm's history, if I were to ask you, what would you want to see? Let's say we asked you to go scout a particular player at practice, and you think fundamentals are super important for guys to get better. What would that mean in terms of the type of work you'd want to see from a player at practice that would separate him from the unsound, fundamentally strong player? Like, what would be an example of somebody who's strong fundamentally that you'd want to see during a practice?
It's a great question. I think it depends. It's hard to say that in soccer because you go through ages, right? So if you're saying like a 15-year-old, you want to see a certain characteristic from this player, a 12-year-old certain characteristic, and say an 8-year-old certain characteristic. But if I'm looking, if you say I'm a college coach, right, which we're looking for a D1 athlete, someone that could fit our system, what I want to see is how that player reacts when the team is not playing well, and how that player reacts in certain times of the day, I'm thinking of trade now, certain times of the match when other players are tired. So say the 70th minute to the 90th minute, and see how his fundamentals are there. Because you're going to see a lot of players be able to make certain passes here and there, but can they continuously do that repetitively over and over and over and over again? And over time, what you'll see is that the guys who stay consistent, who don't risk too much, and in those certain moments in the game, when the pressure is on, they're able to make quick decisions and use those fundamentals.
I'm glad I asked that question.
If that makes sense. I don't know if I was too...
No, it did. It did, and I appreciate you letting us pick your brain on that.
Great.
All right, great. Appreciate the time, and we'll see you soon and talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
In this video, you learned 8 important trading lessons that can drive improved trading performance by you. They are: 1, the importance of understanding the potential upside for a trade based on the news. 2, you can build a trading career catching small moves rather than the whole move. 3, being open-minded about a trade leads to elite trading. 4, find a liquid and volatile stock and not just a volatile name. 5, game plan great long and short ideas. 6, embrace technology to help you make better trade decisions. 7, review well to internalize the best trades. 8, and finally, the importance of learning from a senior trader during your trading journey. Do you want to learn the techniques elite traders use and copy them? In this video appearing on your screen now, we will reveal this technique and exactly how to learn and then use it with your trading. Click the video to find out this potentially game-changing technique for your trading.